Zilliqa has exploded to the upside. We're doing a 4-part series, and in part 4 today, we're going to cover the very high probability price zones that Zilliqa is likely to go to. Not guaranteed because we can only do probabilities and never certainties, but more often than not, the pattern would often play out. So if you like today's video, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. If you don't know me by now, my name is Jiggy. I'm the award-winning author of The Extraordinary New Venture Capital Opportunity, How to Invest Like a Pro. Been featured in the best-selling book, High Probability Trading Strategies, back in 2008, where I only used to focus on currencies, but now exclusive on crypto. So let's dive into part 4, Zilliqa. Where is it likely to go with wave 3? So hopefully you've watched part 1, 2, and 3, where we've covered pattern, price, and momentum. And now we're going to cover price. Really, that's going to be the focus on where is Zilliqa likely to go. So what we learned in part 1, 2, and 3 is we had this nice move up and an ABC down for a pattern. We had these Fibonacci ratios, which are very, very key, combined with momentum. We saw that the momentum did a bullish reversal over here, and that would have been the entry point, and it's really taken off and done a 500%. But now we're going to look ahead of time. And by the way, if you're new to Fibonacci, Elliott Wave, and you want to learn, take my free Elliott Wave and Fibonacci Masterclass. It's in the link below. And it just shows you the 3 key rules that you must know to apply Elliott Wave accurately and consistently. So with Zilliqa, what we're going to do now is we're going to zoom in like this, right? Now, this wave 2 has pretty much been confirmed now. So we can actually remove this question mark. I'm happy with that. I mean, it can still make a new low, but it's unlikely. We can also delete all these lines over here because the market has already taken off. So our now new focus isn't entry. It's now trade management. It's now position management. How do we know where is this trend likely to go based on probabilities? Now, what we're going to do, I covered this in the masterclass in detail, but what we're going to do is we're going to measure wave 1 and we're going to project a ratio from the wave 2 low. And there's 2 key ratios that we want to be aware of, especially for cryptocurrency, because cryptocurrency is a lot of panic buying and fear of missing out. And it's even more raw when it comes to human psychology. There's more speculation than traditional markets. So wave 3 can often overshoot. And there's typical ratios. So the 2 key ratios. So let's just do this here. We're going to use a tool called, the software that we're using here, by the way, is TradingView. It's called Trend-Based Fib Extension. I'm just going to do this. And I'm going to do it here to the side. So we're going to measure the wave 1 low, the wave 1 high, and project it from this wave 2 low. And the key ratios that we want are 2 in particular. Most wave 3s are a minimum of 1.618, and the overextension is 2.618. I'm going to just show you something with Solana in advance. With Solana, when we did this, because I did this analysis in advance with Solana, this was the wave 1 and the wave 2. And what we just did with Zilliqa in terms of the projection, if we look at this, because this one is a good case study for what typically happens time and time again, we use the same thing, but look at the overextension ratio of 2.618. So it means you can actually anticipate this is the minimum, and it hit the minimum, but it shot through it. And typically when it shoots through one ratio, it will typically go to the next. And it allows you to plan to, when you see the market approaching a maximum ratio, typical maximum, you should be getting ready to take profits. Yeah, and that's the whole thinking. That's the whole use of Elliott waves and Fibonacci from a practical perspective to maximize the trend. So now what we've done over here with Zilliqa is the exact same thing. We've drawn these 2 ratios ahead of time, 1.618, and the price of that is 41 cents. So that's still, what's that? 2.5x above where it is today, and 65 cents, right? From the low down here, we're talking about that's a 10x, and then around a 15x. All in all, if you manage to get in over here, or if you bought in here and you've just been hodling through this time period. And what will typically happen more often than not? Now, it doesn't mean it's going to, but when a movement to the upside occurs like this, often there'll be a correction. But this is so bullish, I don't know if there's going to be a deep correction, because with Solana, again, we want to use this as a case study, there wasn't a deep pullback. When this market took off, this was the pullback. That was very, very bullish behavior. So with Zilliqa, we might not get a deep pullback. So if you're waiting for it, it might not occur. But if it does, and it breaks down to an ABC correction, there might be another opportunity to really purchase and get into Zilliqa before the rest of this move is likely to occur. But what we also want to be aware of is wave threes tend to break down. Again, I'm speculating here because it hasn't happened yet, but more often than not, it'll break down into 5 waves. 5 waves, very similar. Again, Solana, it broke down into a nice 5-wave structure. If we look at this over here, we got this movement up, little correction, moving up, correction, and a 5-wave structure for a 3, and then the whole sequence repeated itself again. So with Zilliqa, the key things we want to take into account, I'm going to give you a bonus as well. I'm going to give you a bonus. The bonus is, I'm going to come out of this chart, and in the top left-hand corner, I got the weekly momentum. Right? The weekly momentum is the weekly chart now, is a big clue on the local highs and the lows. And we want to be aware of this, very, very aware of this. That can tell us that we are potentially at the maybe near end of a wave 1 of a wave 3, and we might see a bit of a pullback for a couple of weeks before the next move to the upside. Again, there's a few other things that we need to take into account, but it gives us a good ballpark. Is there anything else that I want to cover? One last thing I'm going to cover with you is, just as an extra bonus again, I'm going to measure wave 1. How long did it take wave 1 to form is often how long wave 3 will take. So wave 3 will typically take maybe six months. Maybe I'm going to go for 0.618. It'll maybe take a few months, so we're not talking about an overnight process, a few months to go to the upside. Here the date is around October, so where are we now? We're in April, so we're talking maybe 6 months sideways to up. Or we could be a bit more conservative and say, did the wave 1 begin over here, or did it begin over here? I am taking this with a pinch of salt as well, because with Solana, it went up very, very fast. It went up very, very fast. It took, how long did it take? It was September, from July to September. It was around, 2-3 months? 2-3 months? So Zilliqa might be the same, 2-3-4 months to sideways to up. So there you have it. Now you got your 4 parts. We got pattern that we did in part 1. We did price in part 2, and then we did momentum to how to identify the end of a wave 2. And in part 4 today is the real price ratios. That's the key focus over here. Price ratios that Zilliqa is likely to do, and more often than not, it will break down into a 5-wave structure. So if you want to really learn how to do Elliott wave Fibonacci like a pro, really understand those 3 key rules and how and which Fibonacci ratios apply to which waves. Wave 2s are different from wave 1s, are different from wave 3s, and it represents a different part of the market psychology and how the market is feeling within the 5-wave structure and the 3-wave correction. And these 5s and 3s typically tend to unfold again and again on different degrees of count. And we would have seen macro count, intermediate count, and micro count. And hopefully that's becoming clearer and clearer for you. So when you click on the link, you'll get Elliott Wave and Fibonacci Masterclass, how to read the market like a pro. Exclusive, see what you can learn from this extraordinary training. There you go. My team wrote that there. Well, we've got some great feedback, and I think you'll like the training because we cover a lot of information, but it's clear, it's concise, and it's objective. So if you like today's content, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. Let me know what you think about this 4-part series, and if you're identifying these ABC corrections in advance, and let me know. Like if you're seeing a ABC correction, you think it's, but also make sure you're zooming out and looking at the macro picture. I personally like to look at weekly and daily charts so you can get the bigger moves. W.D. Gann, who's one of the forefathers of technical analysis from the 1900s, said the big money is made in the big moves. So sometimes you can be in the position for weeks and months and just let it ride out. And when you see an end of a wave 5 sequence, that's where you really want to take maximum profits. All right, so let's finish on a quote. Let's go with, I'm going to go with chapter 8 today. Chapter 8. Henry Ford. It has been my observation that most people get ahead during the time that others waste. Now's the time. Now's the time to practice. Blockchain's here today to stay. Cryptocurrency is the new revolution. It's Web 3.0. It's going to be bigger than the internet itself. It's the next layer. So this token economy, this new economy, with more and more utility coming into play, and where mass adoption is going to occur over the next decade, more than likely. And this current $2-3 trillion market capitalization of crypto is going to go over 10 trillion, then over the decade of 50 trillion, 100 trillion, and a lot of value is going to come into this space because of the level of efficiency. And you being able to read the market, because a lot of speculation is still going to happen with the token economy, you can really leverage this for your sake so you become the casino and you can win with consistency and have that edge in your favor. So like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, take the free Elliott Wave and Fibonacci Masterclass, enjoy it, and I'll see you very soon.